Good morning. Sunday morning. Sunday fun day. Woo woo. It's getting a little cooler here. Got my jacket. Had to use the heater last night. Woo. I like this time of year though. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love summertime. I think at heart I am like a beach bum. I like island living and wearing flip-flops and shorts all the time. But I do like the cooler weather too. Get to bust out the flannel jackets, having fires, s'mores, that kind of type stuff. Snuggling in. You know, guys, I wanted to maybe continue on an earlier lesson that I did out here on the porch. I'm trying to remember. I think that lesson was about defending yourself. Yeah, psychic self-defense. And I talked about how they will try to discredit you in public and get you to act out of character and use a lot of, I think I even used the word psychological warfare. And we can even say spiritual attack on you. Because they will. They certainly will. And I made the point that, well, how do you fight against it? And I had made the point that was, I said, don't react. You don't react the way they want you to. And I wanna go into a little more detail on that, because guys, that's a hard thing to do. It's one thing that we have to consider as light workers, as chosen. I'll just go ahead and say it as it is. Chosen people. People probably get butthurt when they hear that. Oh, you think you're chosen? Yeah. Yeah. Thing is, though, it's not. When people hear that, they usually think about like stuff and like, you know, material things or like pride and egotistical concepts with it. And that's what really separates the two, you know, from people who really are chosen versus people who want to be chosen. People who are really chosen understand that it's a tough life. It's not. It doesn't come with this wealth bag or this like egotistical status. It comes with a lot of pain. Being chosen means you have a lot of enemies. Okay? Joseph was chosen, and his own brothers jumped him and threw him in a pit and sold him to slavery because he had a nicer coat. Wow, what you know? Really? And that's just one example. There's so many. Jealousy, the green-eyed monster, can be a savage. You want to see some people act nasty? Start making them feel jealous. And what people just naturally make people feel jealous, and it's wild because when you're chosen, you'll do it unintentionally. You're just being yourself, being authentic, trying to be nice. And you will tick people off. You'll make them jealous. They'll be jealous of your talent, of your authenticity. Can you imagine being that kind of person that just gets set off by someone being themselves? What a pitiful existence. And that's the way we need to look at it. They're pitiful. It's easy to react and want to fight back. And there is a way to fight back. There is. And I'm going to teach you some of that. I sure am. But it's not going to be the way you think. It's not going to be with your fists or with... yeah, no, it will be. There's words. The tongue is very sharp. The sword. But it's not going to be exactly the way you think. Because we're under psychological warfare. For sure. You got to understand that these folks, your enemies, what they want to do is make you look like the bad guy, to make you look uncredible, unworthy of influence. They've done a good job at making this illusion and facade of influence for low vibrational minded people. And there's a lot of them out in the world today. But what is happening right now is people are starting to raise their vibration. We're going through a separation. Okay? Not everyone's going to be able to raise their vibrational mindset, though. You're going to see a struggle. You're going to see people starting to act a little more crazy. Get set off, triggered. Because other people are going to be raising their vibration, their way of thinking, their mindset. They're going to be mastering their mind. And then there's going to be those who just can't do it. They're stuck in the old way of thinking. They're stuck in the muck and the mire of materialism and ego, of the old Piscean way. But we're moving on. All right. So that's one thing we need to understand. Another thing that you need to understand, too, being a chosen person and going into these dark occultists, and think about the word chosen. You are chosen. They've known about you for a long time. And one thing that I think people don't understand, and I'm going to break this truth out, there are groups of people that specifically pick certain children to be a sacrifice. They'll take out life policies at a very young age on these people, knowing that if you go down, they'll make a lot of money. Is it starting to make sense? There'll be big policies too, and they'll have multiple people on board with it. I don't know if this is common knowledge, but on a life policy, after about 2 to 3 years the policy's written, it'll cover a suicide. Yeah, there's a suicide clause. Once that's over, the policy will pay for that. Think about that now. Someone else can take a policy on someone and be the beneficiary of it, or a group. And after 2 to 3 years, if the covered person suicides, the beneficiary will get that. Now imagine if that person who's covered was put under psychological warfare their whole life. What if they were raised and surrounded by nasty narcissists who purposely mentally attacked them? Okay? Granted, we all have free will, and that's where the self-defense comes in. Guys, we have to understand that it's what they're doing is they're trying to lead you to a cliff to convince you to jump. But you have to jump. So don't jump. Don't give them what they want. They want you to react in a way that benefits them. That's why they want you to get mad. They want you to get mad, and they want you to react violently. Why? Because then it's going to prove their point that you're crazy, that you can't handle yourself. Because there is a flip side to these policies. After a certain amount of time, the person who it's taken out is supposed to become the beneficiary. It's supposed to be given to them. That's how it's supposed to work. I took out a policy on my son. Me and my wife sure did. You know, one of the cool things about taking out a whole life policy on a child when they're born, they're super cheap. I think it's like, I mean, I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but like $20 a month probably. I used to work in insurance sales. I did it for a little bit. I learned how shady the business is and I got out of it. But I at least learned enough of the rules to learn a thing or two. And what my plan is to do with that policy is by the time my son's 18 years old, it'll be totally paid for. No more payments will have to be made on that policy. And I'm going to give it to him. And if he ever needs a loan, if he ever needs to, because on a whole life policy, you can borrow money off of the value of that. And there's no, it's not like a regular term loan. You pay it off when you can. You pay it back when you can. But you still keep the policy. And like I said, I mean, I've already said it before, we're not rich people. You know, I know some people might think like, you know, they see the stuff, right? And they get this weird thing that they think I'm rich. We just work really hard for what we have. But I love my son so much that I want to give him the best life possible that I can. I want to give him all the things that I've been able to win and that I've been able to learn. I want to give him as much of a head start as I can afford. And that was one way to do that. So when he gets old enough, I'm going to give that to him. And if he ever needs to use it to, you know, a down payment for a house or tuition for school, whatever, it'll be his to decide at that point. Okay? That's how it's supposed to be. That's the right way to look at it. But the problem is we got some wicked people out here in the world. There are some wicked, nasty people. And they'll adopt children, foster kids, not really care about them, and they'll put these policies on them knowing they're going to bring them up through a mental hell. Thinking that, well, if they can't take it and they escort themselves out, I'll be rich. What a sick way to think about life. Unfortunately, though, that is the world we live in. But we can change that. And it is changing. These nasty people are not going to be able to go to the next phase, the new earth. The golden age. They're not going to be able to come. Which is why they want to keep everybody down. And they use the media and TV and all sorts of tools to keep everybody at a low vibrational state. Because they know as long as they can keep everybody low enough, they can keep hitting that snooze button and delay the inevitable. Inevitably, it will change. You cannot stop the mighty river. You can't. But they're going to try. There's too much for them to lose. So don't give it to them, guys. And take it from me. Man, when I was a little kid, I used to fight back. I'd fight the bullies back. I'd say things to them. I would do the things they would do. But the thing is, guys, when you're chosen, you don't get to play by the same rules as everyone else. You don't get that privilege. You don't. I'd fight back, defend myself, and then I'd get in trouble. Anyone ever notice that? Yeah, I mean, sometimes you might have been in the wrong. I'm sure there might have been times I was in the wrong. I'm not a perfect person. But I'm not foolish enough to to be totally blind to what was going on. I see it. And we have to be able to see. We have eyes to see. Spiritual eyes to see. You know, one way I flipped the script on somebody, there was this guy, he was in like the church group, and he didn't really like me much. I caught him talking a bunch of trash about me. And he was mostly in the wrong. But for some reason, the Spirit of the Lord told me to do something for him. And I remember at that time, I worked in a kitchen. I did kitchen work. And we were making personal pizzas. And it was just like a kitchen staff thing. And so he wouldn't have known, right? Well, if Spirit of the Lord told me, make your enemy a pizza. Make him a pepperoni pizza. And take it to him. And I did. And I think I won him over. I don't think he really wanted it to be that way. But I did. I killed him with some kindness. It is weird how things work like that. I'll be honest with you, I didn't really want to do that. God told me to. And I fought it at first. I was like, man, that guy was a jerk to me. Why? That's a stupid idea. Make him a pizza. He doesn't deserve that. But I listened to the Spirit. I was obedient. And I got some good karma for doing that. Guys, it's going to take things like that. I know. Trust me, I know. And the world does a good job of making you feel weak for not fighting back on their terms. What are you a man? Come on, guys. I know that. Oh, he must be weak. Letting other people talk to him like that. It's a trick. You guys got to remember, when you're chosen, you don't get the privilege of playing by the same rules. The devil has a job. The devil was created by God. He reports to God. God lets the devil do what he does. There is nothing that goes unseen by the Lord. And the devil's job, believe it or not, is to punish the wicked. For sure. He loves killing wicked people. He also loves tricking righteous people to become wicked so he can kill them. Some people like to play a game with the devil and they think they can delay it. They sign contracts, offer sacrifice, and the devil knows that he's going to get it one day. And the longer it takes, the worse it's going to be. You hear about these things people do in Hollywood and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's true. But they'll get theirs. Might take a while, but they will. So guys, keep that in mind. Let this be a word of encouragement to you. We can be the change. We're the light. Don't let a dark world Smother it. All right, guys. Good luck out there. Have a good day.